All right, so Donald Trump has hired some new people. Some people controversial, some people with a lack of experience, some people with no moral compass. One of those people that Donald Trump just hired, and the news came out yesterday, is a guy by the name of Pete Hegseth, who never got his own show on Fox News, but was a weekend anchor on Fox News. Now, he is the Secretary of Defense. And some people would say, is this the best person that Donald Trump could find? It doesn't matter whether you're J.D. Vance or Ron DeSantis, John McCain. I always respect anybody's service to this nation. And as we do know, and I will never, and nobody should take that away from him, Pete Hegseth is a hero. He served this country honorably, and I will always have the utmost respect for that. With that being said, he's a complete douchebag. Why do I say that? Well, first of all, he helped get a murderer pardoned. That's number one. That's probably something on the checklist of somebody that's not a very good human being. But even more importantly, he's a serial cheater. He cheated on his first wife with a coworker. He cheated on his second wife with a Fox News employee that he had a child with, and that ex-wife had to file a lawsuit against him. And of course, he's a devout Christian, right? Because it's usually the devout Christians that call themselves, people of God, people of Jesus, who impregnate other women while they're married. He's not a good guy. I respect his service to this country. He's a douchebag. And he's also been wearing the Donald Trump knee pads every single day. He has not been capable, like so many on Fox News, of criticizing Donald Trump for anything. Anything. So I want you to listen to the serial cheating douchebag himself, Pete Hegseth, complaining about his own people. Complaining that sometimes veterans are using government for benefits too much. Yes, that's right, folks. He's saying people that risk their life for this country, that put it all out on the line, shouldn't be getting handouts. Have a listen to this.
Groups out there, vets groups mostly, encourage vets to apply for every government benefit they can ever get after they leave the service. Because, well, why not, right? The government's giving it out. To me, the ethos of service is I serve my country because I love my country, and I'm going to come home and start the next chapter of my life. And if I've got a chronic condition, mental, physical, otherwise, the government better be there for me. But otherwise, I don't want to be dependent if I don't have to be.
You got to have personal integrity.
And right now, a lot of groups are convincing vets to give, get, take more from the system as opposed to just what you need for the service you get.
Yeah, taking too much from the system. Meanwhile, Donald Trump, the man who he supports and coddles every day, and now the man who he's going to be working for, giving the biggest tax breaks to the top 1%. But Pete Hegseth thinks it's about personal integrity, because if you risk your life for this country, you better not overuse those benefits from the government. I mean, this is the guy that's going to be the Secretary of Defense. Are you kidding me? And he's also a misogynist pig. Besides being a habitual cheater, a man who goes out and impregnates women that he works with while he's married. He also said not that long ago, if memory serves me right, this is like less than a week ago, while getting interviewed, he said he doesn't think women should serve in combat roles. Have a listen to this.
I'm straight up just saying we should not have women in combat roles. It hasn't made us more effective, hasn't made us more lethal, has made fighting more complicated. We've all served with women, and they're great. It just, our institutions don't have to incentivize that in places where not traditionally, over human history, men in those positions are more capable.
Absolutely and abundantly ridiculous. First of all, let's be very clear here. If you can pass the physical tests that are needed to be on the combat field, it shouldn't matter what is between your legs. And I can tell you right now, there are a lot of tough women out there in this country that would kick his ass and mine. I want those tough women that are heroes serving this country. I want them on the battlefield if they can pass the necessary test needed. But Pete Hegseth, who is a misogynist pig and a bigot, as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't matter to him. I guarantee you that there are men serving in the military right now, most of whom are tough and heroes, They're all heroes as far as I'm concerned. However, I guarantee you there are some women that are physically stronger than some of the men. I'm not saying the majority of the men, but some. So why should those women not be allowed to serve? I'll tell you why. Because Pete Hegseth is a pig. Because Pete Hegseth has treated women poorly his entire life. Because Pete Hegseth is a misogynist. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the new Secretary of Defense. The weekend anchor on Fox News who doesn't think that women should be in combat roles. The weekend anchor on Fox News who thinks sometimes it should be about personal integrity and you shouldn't overuse the government when you come home from war and need health benefits. He is a disgusting pig. Now, I want to play you some of this audio that not a lot of people have heard. And it's new audio and video that's come out that a listener had sent me. This is Pete Hegseth the morning of January 6th, when we had the January 6th insurrection. Remember that day? Well, guess what? Pete Hegseth was doing some stand-ups for Fox News. And Pete Hegseth is part of the reason why January 6th happened. Now, why do I say that? Well, I want you to listen to his hyping up of what was a coup, an attempted coup on January 6th. This is Pete Hegseth hours before we had the January 6th insurrection live on Fox.
Stop the steal, stop the steal. And we saw it coming out of Georgia, that 70% of Republicans who believe that the election in November was not legitimate, that it was stolen, that may have had an effect on Georgia, but no doubt it has an effect on the hearts of this city right now, of Americans. I have friends who've texted me who are not very political saying, I'm coming to Washington, D.C. today because I can't handle what's happening in my country. I think it's not an understatement to say we're in a constitutional tinderbox right now with people on both sides believing there's legitimacy and illegitimacy based on things they feel in their heart and love of their country. Donald Trump will articulate a lot of that today from the stage. He'll have thousands of supporters here and dozens of senators and congressmen on the House of Representatives objecting with that long debate that will go on and on. Will the rally go on longer and longer? We'll see. There were arrests last night. Will there be contention tonight? That's a possibility as well.
Yeah, that's a possibility. You frickin' idiot. You disgrace. You're a disgrace to the military, as far as I'm concerned. You're an election denier. You hype up people for the January 6th coup. You're a habitual liar and cheater. You've treated women horribly your entire life. You're a misogynist pig who doesn't think that women should be serving in combat roles. And you're somebody who thinks that at times those who serve this country honorably might be overusing the government's help when they have health issues and it's about personal integrity. You are a douchebag, you are a scumbag, and you're a January 6th hype man for a coup. And you're also very, very weird. I'll play this clip as well. And this clip might not be as important as some of the other clips that I played. But, you know, you always worry in the workplace, like when you're shaking somebody's hand and they just came out of the restroom. You know, and you think to yourself, oh, boy, was he just touching his junk? I hope that guy washed his hands. Well, guess what? Not in the case of Pete Hegseth. Good thing he's not in charge of anything health-wise. But I want you to listen to Pete Hegseth tell us when the last time was he washed his hands. Have a listen to this.
I don't think I've washed my hands for 10 years. Really, I don't really wash my hands ever.
Help me.
No, I inoculate myself. It's just not, germs are not a real thing. I can't see them. Therefore, they're not real.
So you're becoming immune to all of the
exactly.
bacteria.
I can't get sick.
I can't get sick. Well, I'll tell you what probably makes a lot of women sick. When Pete Hegseth cheated on his wives, because he's cheated on several of them, let's just assume that he had intimate relations with them. And then he went home without washing his hands. God knows what he did with his hands and fingers with some of these women that he cheated on. And then he went home to his real wife and didn't wash his hands. I want you all to think about that for a second. How, first of all, the behavior, which is disgusting, and second of all, physically, how disgusting it is. It makes me want to throw up. But, you know, he's the next Secretary of Defense for Donald Trump. I almost think it's a prerequisite, if you're at Fox News, that you must cheat on a spouse. That it's a prerequisite that you have to be a douchebag. You have to be a misogynist pig, maybe even a bigot or a racist. In this case, certainly misogyny with Pete Hegseth, who doesn't think that women should be in combat roles. He doesn't think, or he does think, that there are people that have served this country that need personal integrity because they might be using the government too much for health benefits. Yeah, that's right. How about his over-the-top celebration the morning of January 6th as being a attempted coup hype man? That's exactly what he was, live on the air. People on both sides think there are a lot of issues in this election. And, there were some arrests yesterday. We'll see what happens today. But there's a lot of people that are angry where this country's at. He was a hype man for January 6th. How despicable, right? Somebody, and I say this about brave men and women who've served this country, and then they come back home and they're election deniers, and they do what this douchebag, Pete Hegseth, has done. How could you be a woman and be okay with this appointee? How? The way he's treated women his whole life? What he thinks of you? He thinks lesser of you than a man. He said it. He openly said it a week ago. And you can't say, wow, that was years ago. He's changed his position. No, he said a week ago he doesn't think women should be in combat roles. Do you realize how ridiculous that is? You have a woman who's strong mentally and physically and tough, and she's willing to risk her life for this country, but Pete Hegseth is going to look her in the eyes and say, you can't fight for us. You can't be on the battlefield. But why? I passed all the tests, physical and mental. Why? Because of what you have between your legs. I have this and you have that. That's what Pete Hegseth is saying, because he is a misogynist pig douchebag. He's a douche is what he is. He's a bad guy. And he's talentless. Even on Fox News, they wouldn't give him his own show. So he wasn't capable of getting his own show on Fox News. Certainly not capable of not cheating on a woman. And the only thing he's been capable of for years is wearing the Donald Trump knee pads and kissing Donald Trump's ass, and that's exactly why Donald Trump hired him. Donald Trump doesn't care about the safety and security of this country. Donald Trump doesn't care about the economy. Donald Trump doesn't care about women. Donald Trump only cares about himself. So, Brian, you might be saying, Brian, why did he hire him then? Because Pete Hegseth is an ass kisser. He's going to never challenge Donald Trump on anything. He's a yes man. Ladies and gentlemen, your next Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth.